right, let's talk about hitters now. Paul, we're looking for a guy who is over 5K. You got Jose Ramirez at 6,400, Vlad Guerrero Jr. at 6,500. The top two priciest guys, do you want them in your lineup or are you going to pay down a little?
I'm going to go a titch lower and take Mookie Betts, certainly pricey as well at $6,100, but he's on fire with it. 19 hits in his last 40 at bats, punctuated by 6 homers and 10 extra base hits. So a power bat that's going well. Give it to me every time. He'll get the platoon advantage also against a lefty starter for the Angels, although he's a good one. I like Rafael Devers visiting the Rogers Center tonight. He enjoys the platoon advantage against Alex Manoah and enters this game on his own 13 for 40 tear. He only cost $5,700. And then finally, Manny Machado also has appeal for me tonight because of his current hot streak, 15 hits in his last 39 at bats. He has 4 homers and 6 extra base hits amongst that sample. His price tag is $5,600. And he too will enjoy the platoon advantage against Caleb Smith. The guy's having trouble keeping the ball in the park. 11 home runs in his last 47 and 2/3 innings pitched.
I think there's a lot of good choices that are in that 6K range, but I'm actually looking to Joey Gallo, who has a lefty-lefty matchup. And he was my favorite player on last night's slate and did well. The problem was the rest of the Yankees were bad. So having Gallo with 4 other Yankees wasn't actually that productive. But his 30 fantasy points with 2 doubles and a home run against Tyler Anderson and the Mariners bullpen, I think could be replicated here in another very similar matchup against Marco Gonzalez. And Joey Gallo actually is a better power hitter slightly against lefties than he is against righties, even though he is left-handed. So his career numbers, he's a little bit worse for batting average standpoint and on-base percentage against lefties, but his power numbers, his ISO, his WRC plus actually, so his overall hitting package is better against lefties. And his ownership is just going to be really, really low because you generally don't see chalky players when they're facing same-handed pitchers unless there's some pricing disparity or something else that stands out that makes them appear as a good play. I like the Yankees in general at home in a spot where I think they'll be lower owned than a lot of other high upside teams. But Gallo in particular, because he's facing a lefty, I think people will just go to Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton if they're using a Yankees outfielder. Gallo gets overlooked, and I think the matchup is just as good for him as it is for those guys. So that's where I'm looking to pay up. He's only 5K, so it's cheaper than players I'm normally talking about. He's right on the button at 5,000, but I think he's a really strong play for tonight.